we're now sitting first in the Formula 3 Championship, so that's why I thought I'd go for a sort of professional image, just in case we do end up winning the championship. At least there's some good footage of me looking like I belong here. Hey everyone, welcome to Season 1, Part 7 of Race to the Top. I'm Ian. In today's episode, we do have all the build-up to the Dubai GP, which will be round 4 of only 8 rounds in the Formula 3 Championship. So we do have to focus on 2 things. First of all, we have to focus on our suspension, which I did sort of briefly cover in the episode 5, I believe it was, and I'll quickly show you that again once the car's repaired. And we also have to have a quick look at our pit crew, because mistakes will start creeping in soon because they're starting to get a bit fatigued. So what are my main worries at the moment? I'm thinking long term. Owner's happy. I'm whatever. Doesn't really matter. I'm sure he's figured that out by now. But yeah, so suspension's the big one, because this is really our last chance, I think, to start picking up big points. And we do have a dilemma, actually. I'm wondering if you're interested in voting in favour of refuelling in the next vote. I could force to vote in favour and I get £250,000, but you know what? Because I'm probably going to vote in favour. It's 3 weeks away. Ooh, my vote's not for sale. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, sorry, as I was saying, so this is our last real chance of winning points, because we're not designing any new parts. We're only upgrading the parts that we currently have. And so this one, so we got Dubai. See, we haven't upgraded our suspension yet. Our suspension's only at 102 at the moment. We can't really upgrade the engine much more either. We can go another sort of 3 points in that. And then when you start looking at Doha, you got acceleration, deceleration. Got good gearbox there, brakes. We can improve them a little bit. Then we're into Portugal, where acceleration, low speed corners. This one could be sort of anyone's race, really, because as you can see, the front wing is crucial, and that's a spec part. So that race can sort of be anyone's race. But we're going to stick with suspension. We want to upgrade that as much as possible. And in regards to reliability, I am going to start looking at doing the gearbox and the rear wing for reliability. We'll bump that down, say 7 to 3. So we want the suspension to go up to 130. And what I will do is a bit closer to the race weekend, or just quickly go over the pit crew as well, because we need to start shuffling them around, because that's actually a new thing. If you haven't played Motorsport Manager since all the most recent updates and DLC, pit crew has a big impact. And so that's something that we have to look into, because the last 2 races we haven't had any mistakes on the pit stops. That's the word. I couldn't think of the word there. On the pit stops, we haven't actually had any mistakes, but that will surely change over time. And there's actually an interesting mail piece there about Sato might be leaving Motor Park soon. He was the one that crashed out just after Mawson got in front of him in Russia. And if you go watch back on that video just before, you can actually see him. He just goes straight ahead, like his steering wheel fell off or something. Just went straight ahead into the barriers, which was actually pretty amusing. So what I will do is I'll go quickly have a look at the pit crew now, and we'll change them around. So as you can see, their stamina is slowly sort of dropping away a little bit there, and their mistake percentage chance starting to creep up. Kajama, I believe it was the one that made the 2 mistakes on Mawson's pit stops in Guildford. But his mistake chance is quite low. There you go. It's even got it listed right there, and I didn't even see it. Shows my memory. Kajama, I think what I will do is I'm actually going to replace Leila Rangel, Brazilian, 24 years of age, because her mistake chance is starting to creep up a little bit. But as you can see, we're focusing on tyres and fixing for the front wing, and that's Kajama's ratings are exactly the same. So I think what we'll do is we will swap them around and give Rangel, I'll call her Rangel, I think that sounds better, a bit of a break. And then in the next race, what I might do is, as you can see, she's very good at the rear jack. I might bring her in to replace Vahala. Give Vahala a bit of a break, and then Vahala's actually not too bad on the tyres, so I can replace Paskainen with Vahala, and we'll sort of shuffle them around that way, and we'll keep everyone sort of having a bit of a break, because we want to reduce the amount of mistakes. Because we're not obviously designing new parts this season, it's really, really crucial that our pit stops are mistake-free. We cannot afford to have any mistakes at all. And so by shuffling them, by rotating them through, we may have slower pit stops, because they're obviously not going to be quite as good as the person they're replacing, for instance. We should still at least not have any mistakes during the pit stop, even if it's slower. So here you go. So we do have to have our vote about the refueling, which I'm actually quite keen on this one because, I mean, look, it costing a bit of extra money, £20,000. The fuel tanks can only last 40% of race distance, so it brings in a little bit more strategy there. That's why I'm actually quite for this, and I'm going to actually put both my votes into the. Oh, do I? No, I won't. I'm just going to keep one, and I'm going to vote for. There's 4 undecided and then 2 against. So we stand a good chance of winning this. And here we go. We'll skip to the end very, very quickly just to speed things up a little bit. And it looks like voting 4 has got up, and it has. It's been approved. So that does mean that in the next season, and it will be implemented for the 2017 season, which is, of course, next year. So we have refueling next year, and that's going to possibly play into our hands a little bit because we're going to have a good car. So we can really sort of determine our race strategy as much as possible to benefit us with the refueling. But of course, here's the preview to Dubai then. So it's a 48 lap race. The lap record is a 1:39.5. The race should be bone dry. So actually, I believe if you watch the previous build up to the Russian GP, the predicted forecast for Dubai was thunderstorms, but thankfully that's not happening now because we've had no luck with the weather. Russia was quite good, but there was a 40% chance of rain there, so that was risky. The corners around the circuit are mostly average speed and should give it an advantage to any cars with good suspension. Prima Power team are definitely the best in that area right now. That's unsurprising. They're one of the best teams on the grid. The tyre compounds chosen are super softs and softs. So what we'll have a quick look at doing is we'll just go to improve parts and we'll see how the suspension's doing. As you can see, it's up there quite a lot. So we've got 6 days, so let's put all our staff allocated onto performance upgrades and bump that up to a 130. Because where is our suspension? There it is there. So we've got the 4th best. We could possibly bump ahead of Artline or Muck. Is it Muck or Mook? I don't know how you'd say that. And get further up on the field, which is quite important because as you can see, our engine power is right down there. But we're basically average. So by the looks of things, everyone's more or less the same on their engine parts. So that's promising for us in this race because, again, remember, engine is super, super crucial. And we're just zooming through these last few days. Formula 1 is in Vancouver at the moment, so we've got to sim through all those results. I do sort of hover on this screen a little bit because obviously some people are more interested in the results of Formula 1 than how I'm going. And by the looks of it, Vettel's actually leading the championship. And if we have a quick look at the team standings, Ferrari are ahead of Mercedes, which is pretty amazing. Haas is right down there at the moment. I mean, they're losing to McLaren, so that shows how realistic this game is. So we'll get into practice as we slowly move ahead. We'll get into practice, and of course we'll come back for the qualifying at the end of this episode. And yeah, well there you go. See, look, Mucky, however you say it, they've actually just built a staff centre, so they are improving their team, but we're not. As you can see, we've got all the basics. What I do want to do is keep an eye on the budget, because I wouldn't mind. Is it new? I wouldn't mind getting a forecasting centre. That would really help us, especially with refueling, remember. And how many weeks would that take to build? It doesn't actually tell you. 16 weeks. 16 weeks to build. So I might do that at the end of the year, depending on how we do financially, so that we can have a decent car and we can have the forecasting centre ready to go for Season 2. But then, best laid plans, who knows? Who knows how that'll happen. So we are on track B in Dubai, which, as you can see, it's not a demolition derby. There is actually a bridge over there. Very low fuel burn, very low tyre wear, which is quite promising. So what we might be looking at doing is trying to get those super softs, get the knowledge up to the super softs. That's the word. I'm stumbling over my words today. I apologise. Get the super softs up, so then that way we can possibly go sort of as long as possible on the super softs, and we might not even need the softs. We'll figure it out, I suppose, and we'll be back for the qualifying. So here we are then in Dubai on a very sunny day for qualifying. Joey Mawson actually set the fastest lap in practice on the super softs, but keep an eye on PK, because PK was 4th or 5th fastest, and he was only on the softs. As you can see, all we managed to do was get the race trim. That's all we managed to achieve. So Julian Facchero's in a bit of trouble, because Julian Facchero, he performed quite poorly in Russia. I figured, well, Fuoco can have another attempt, keep his skills up, but partly it was my fault, because Facchero really did struggle with race strategy. I nailed the setup for the car for Facchero, but as you can see, Joey Mawson's still not perfectly happy with the handling, but he's just going to have to do one, because we're not really going to have much time to improve that. So we are going to be able to go out and set 2 banker laps, which I'm actually going to do now. I've been having a look. The Super Softs can last 26 laps, and it's a 49 lap race. So I figure we can either do softs and then super softs right at the end, or we can maybe stretch out super soft. But with the heat, in the ambient temperature, it's 46 degrees Celsius. The softs just aren't going to last very long, so we're going to have to go out on the softs and then go super softs at the end, or vice versa. So we've got sort of extra super softs to burn, so they can actually go out and set a time early on, which is why we're sending Mawson out now, hopefully to get into some clean air. And we'll just rotate around a little bit, and we'll do the same thing with Facchero. We'll send him out onto super softs as well, and we'll see what they can do. But as you say, so as I say, Mawson set the fastest lap. I believe he was a 10th up. He did it right at the death again, sort of like when he set pole in Russia. He was, literally crossing the line, last out of all the cars. So he set pole, but I'm not looking too much into that. But as I say, keep an eye on PK, because PK was 5th fastest on softs. So he's going to improve his times quite dramatically. In terms of race strategy then, so we are going to go with hopefully a one-stopper. We're going to sit on the softs, then go super softs, most likely, because the track will start to grip in, obviously, towards the end of the race. So super softs may be the better option. But by going, depending on where we qualify, if we qualify sort of first, we'll be silly not to go onto super softs, build a bit of a lead, and then just try and sit on the softs as much as possible. But we'll have to, all depends on qualifying. As Mawson's got a little bit of traffic there. I don't know who that is. It's someone on their outlap, and it's got a little bit of traffic in front of us as well. Mawson has gone fastest. He's the first one to set a lap time. Facchero, we're going to have to quickly keep an eye on him. He's there you go, he's nearly 2/10 down on Mawson. But PK, there you go, I told you, watch PK. He's gone purple in the first sector. Mawson, he's trying to get past this traffic. I don't know who that is, but that is infuriating. And he's gone fastest in the second sector, but he's the first one to go in. Facchero now, he's nearly 5/10 down. PK, unsurprisingly, he's gone fastest in the second sector. Mawson will cross the line, and what does he do? He does a 1:28.19. And PK will be coming around, most likely setting pole. Facchero, he picked up a lot of time in that final sector, and PK just blew us out of the water. Pedro PK went 1:27.5, and we are at least half a second down. That is a blistering lap by PK. Unsurprisingly, it's blistering because it's 46 degrees, so the tarmac on this circuit will be absolutely boiling. But we do have a bit more time to go around and possibly set another lap. But we're going to have to be... It's going to be tight because I'm stupid, I didn't actually check to see if how long it took to actually go around the circuit. So we're not going to be able to risk it too much. And it's a longer circuit than the Black Sea in the last race. So we are going to have to probably go out sort of now-ish to set a second lap. But a lot of these people, they're not going to be able to set second laps. Like Jensen and Makino, they're not going to be able to do that. So we can get that second lap with the track gripping up a lot more. So Mawson's currently in 5th. Facchero's in 10th. Makino just crossing the line. He's crossed in last place. So we are 5th and 10th at the moment, as Mawson's just seemed to come into a bit of form lately. At the start of the season, he was really, really poor, and it was Facchero who was showing us how it was done. But since then, it's all been Mawson, as he's again got a little bit of traffic in front of him, and we're keeping an eye on that track. Look how much that track's gripping up, and in fact, in those last 2 minutes, it's going to grip up massively. But he managed to get in front of that car. I don't know who that is. That could be Jensen on his in lap, and no, it's definitely not Jensen. But I'm not going to worry too much about it. he's got in front of him now. He's off in the distance. He's got to be on his in lap or his out lap, something like that. Keep an eye on those brake temperatures and the tyre temperatures for both cars because it's so hot. It's going to be really, really difficult to nail this. But Mawson did. He's perfect for brake and tyres. Watch Valqueiro as he's going to be coming around too. In a little bit. There he is up the back there. And he's overheated his brakes, but his tyres are perfect, as we'll keep an eye on Mawson. So there's a few people on their outlaps now. I don't know if they're going to be able to cross the line in time, but Mawson's on his flying lap. Let's see what he can do. Keep an eye on down the bottom there, because it shows you how far behind he is on Piquet, who just set a blistering lap, and he's nearly 1/100th down already, which isn't too bad. If he can improve, he's improved on his last first sector time, so he might be able to bump up a little bit. Schumacher's not coming out again, so we could possibly jump Schumacher. We got Hyman and Aaron there on their outlaps. Valqueiro, he's improved on his first sector as well, but he's down nearly 2/10, so he's certainly not going to be setting pole. This is Mawson's to lose. Mawson didn't improve on his second sector though. He's over 3/10 down as he comes along into the final home straight, rounds that last corner that would be flat out. Where does Mawson finish? Mawson stays in 5th as we'll quickly cut back to Valqueiro now. He's improving on his time. He might bump up the field a little bit. Keep an eye on Martinborough too as Valqueiro crosses the line. He moves up to 8th as we'll quickly now cut back to Martinborough, see what he can do as Martinborough rounds that last sweeping left-hander, and now he's flat out to the finish line. Does Martinborough overtake Mawson? No, he doesn't. He sits in 6th place. So Mawson finishes 5th, Valqueiro finishes 8th, and Piquet, that blistering lap that he had at the start, that's all him, and he thoroughly deserves that result. But I'm quite happy. 5th and 8th, that's what I was kind of expecting. I wasn't expecting to be, 1st and 2nd like we've been doing the last few races. We are going to start to fall down the field a little bit. And 5th and 8th, I'm thrilled to bits with that one. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you pop a big thumbs up on there for me if you did. And tune in tomorrow for the Dubai Grand Prix, where we may be able to squeeze a result. But I don't think we're going to be getting first because Piquet just showing it how it's done and way out in front.